Okay, guys, this video is Charles's Law, another one of the gas laws. So far we've talked about Dalton's Law, which was the law of partial pressures, which was adding those pressures up. We did Boyle's Law, and now we're looking here at Charles's Law that states at constant pressure, volume and temperature are directly proportional. So you should see a difference here from when we were talking about Boyle's Law. Boyle's Law was a inverse relationship. This one is a direct relationship. This time also it's a relationship between volume and temperature. And so really, in order for volume even to be a variable, even to be something that can change, it needs to be either a flexible container like a balloon that can get bigger or smaller depending on the temperature, or we might see something like this where this would go up and down with the change of temperature. And so in this picture, you can see that it's hotter with the bigger flame. And as it's getting hotter on the particle level, these molecules and these particles are moving faster, having more kinetic energy. And so they're pushing on these walls. And as a result, because this is pushable, they will push that up with the force that they're making. Same if you put a balloon out in the heat, those molecules and particles in there will start pushing up against this flexible container, and the balloon will in turn grow in the increased temperature. And then opposite, it would shrink with the decreased temperature. So here's what a graph, we talked yesterday about the Boyle's Law graph looking like this. This graph is going to show a little bit different like this. So as temperature increases, so will volume. It is a temperature increase and then volume would then increase. And so you have more of a direct relationship there. Okay, so looking at our relationship again, we talked about it being a direct relationship. So volume goes up, temperature goes up. Volume goes down, temperature goes down. So there is a direct relationship, and it's a proportional direct relationship. If this is doubled, this will be doubled. If this is tripled, this will be tripled. If this is cut in half, that will be cut in half. And so you see it's even proportional as well as direct. Okay, and just kind of an explanation that we already kind of did is on the particle level, that higher temperature makes those particles start moving faster. They have more kinetic energy. They're moving faster and with more force, and so they're going to be hitting the walls of the container with that force. And if the walls of the container can flex, they will flex and the volume will increase. And so they're going to maintain a constant pressure. So to keep that pressure constant, the volume must change. And so we sort of saw this in an activity that we did right before the break where we were looking at if it's a closed container that cannot flex, it's just going to increase pressure. But if it's a flexible container, they're always trying to maintain pressure inside the balloon equal pressure outside the balloon. Same here, so it's going to grow in order to equalize that pressure out, or if you put it in ice, it will shrink to equalize the pressure that way, always wanting the exterior pressure equaling the interior pressure. All right, so one little key that we need to remember when we're going to solve these problems is that we always need to make sure that our temperature is in Kelvin. And so our formula that we're going to use, V1 over T1 equals V2 over T2. And so how is this different from the formula for Boyle's Law? You can see that this is a division rather than multiplication. Boyle's Law was a multiplication, P1 times V1. Well, this division helps me remember that it's a direct relationship. They both start with D, so it's just kind of an easy way to remember division, direct relationship. And also just when we see a fraction like this, we should know for just the math perspective of this, that this is a proportion. This is a ratio, volume to temperature equaling volume to temperature. All right, so let's do a practice problem and see if we can see how we can apply these. A sample of oxygen gas has a volume of 2.73 milliliters. That's our at 21 degrees Celsius. So this is our V1, and this is our T1. Now notice for our temperature here that it gives me the volume in Celsius, and that's not what we want to use. We want to use Kelvin, and so in order to convert Celsius to Kelvin, we always add 273. So if we come down here and we say 21 plus 273, that's going to give us 294 Kelvin. And so really this is what we're going to use for temperature 1. At what temperature would the gas have a volume of 4 liters? So in other words, what's my T2 if my V2 is 4 liters? So here we're going to notice that we're increasing my volume. So we should see, if we do it correctly, an increase in temperature. And we're going to find that temperature in Kelvin. So let's set the problem up. Here is our formula, V1 over T1 equals V2 over T2. And we're going to add in all of our pieces of information. So V1 is the 2.73 milliliters divided by temperature, which we converted to Kelvin. So always make sure that you have the Kelvin in there, equals, what was my missing? V2 was not my missing, so we're going to put that in, 4.00 milliliters over T2. T2 is my unknown, my missing, my question. Okay, so mathematically, there are 2 different ways to do this. We can cross multiply and divide, or we can say this number divided by this number. It's a little bit easier to cross multiply and divide so that we don't have to worry about anything here. So that would be my suggestion on starting all of these, is just multiply across and then divide by here. So you've been doing cross multiply and divide for a while. So 294, my calculator would say 294 times, I'm do an X or a dot, whatever, times 4.00. And you can see how these units are going to cancel out. We're going to put those into our calculator, then hit equal. And then we're going to divide by 2.73 milliliters. Now, what we're going to notice here is that my milliliters is going to cancel out. And so my leftover unit is going to be Kelvin, which is exactly what I want. So when I put this in my calculator, I'm going to get 430 Kelvin. So T2 equals 430 Kelvin. Box that up. Okay? All right, let's try another one. All right, if a gas occupies 7.33 liters at 10.0 degrees Celsius, you can see already we're getting some of this information, underline the numbers, identify what they are. This is going to be your V1, and this is going to be your T1. And then at what, here's my question word, what temperature, so I've already identified my missing piece, will occupy, and here's my V2. So right away you should notice what we need to do before we even set up our equation, and that is to convert the degrees Celsius into Kelvin. And so right away we're going to be able to do that up here. We're going to say 10 plus 273 will be 283 Kelvin. And so that's the T1 that we're going to put into our equation. So our equation, V1 over T1 equals V2 over T2. Okay? And so my V1, 7.33 liters. And notice this time we're using liters instead of milliliters. And again, that is okay that there's a change in that one as long as this is liters and this is liters. So they do need to match each other. If they don't, we need to make sure they do by converting one. Like if they gave this to you in milliliters, you would need to convert it to liters. But in this case, they gave you both in liters. So we can just, we can just throw those both in there. This is this 9.50 liters. And then under here is going to be my T1, which is the 283 Kelvin. And then over here is my T2. Okay, so again, we're going to cross multiply and divide 283 Kelvin by 9.50 liters and then divide by that. So in my calculator, 283 Kelvin times 9.50 liters divided by 7.33 liters. And you're going to notice again that the units that you don't want, they should cancel out, and I should be left with Kelvin as my answer. And so we should get 367 Kelvin equals T2. Okay? All right, if you think you understand it, good. You can go ahead and start on some of your quiz questions, but let's go ahead and I'll do one more for you. This one has a little bit different missing piece. So, number 3. What volume will a sample of hydrogen occupy at 298 Kelvin? Thankfully, they give this one to us in Kelvin, so we didn't have to do any conversions there, and that is your T1. If gas occupies a volume at 2.23 liters, that is at a temperature of 0. So notice it says what volume. So already they gave me my question here. So it's actually V1 that is missing. What volume will a sample of hydrogen at this temperature? So these two pieces of information go together. The volume at this temperature. So this would be V1 and T1. If this same gas occupies a volume of 2.3 liters at 0 degrees Celsius. So they did give us our T1 in Kelvin, but they did not give us our T2 in Kelvin. And so that makes that a little bit of a problem, except for that we can just take that 0 degrees Celsius, add 273, which of course gives us 273 Kelvin. Okay, so our formula, V1 over T1 equals V2 over T2. And we're just going to plug those things in. So it's really important that you see what goes together. 2.23 liters at 273 Kelvin was 0, but we changed it, equals what volume at 298 Kelvin. Okay? Again, we can cross multiply and divide, so you'll see that same thing on all of these. No matter what's the missing piece, you can always cross multiply and divide by the other piece. So 298 times 2.23 divided by 273. So 298 Kelvin times 2.23 liters divided by 273 Kelvin, and that should equal your V1. And so in this case, if I did that in my calculator and noticing that my kelvins this time cancel out, and so I should be left with liters as my units. So if I do that in my calculator, I get 2.43 liters. And put that in a box. Okay, so now it's time for you to go try some on your own.